All right. Now you can open. Rico's here. Carol's here. Kathy,
Okay.
hi. All right. I will screen share.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Dove. Hey, Lynn.
We're going to have an evening of joy and happiness. And two people here gave the ideas for how tonight's going to be. One is Lynn Antar, who said to me, you know, what's the difference between, you know, nothing here means anything and God is in everything I see. So there's a difference between form and content. So that's the name of tonight's topic. Things that are,
Dove, can you say that sentence over again? Because your voice dropped out, at least on my computer. Just say that first sentence again, what Lynn said to you.
oh, okay. Lynn Antar asked me, how could lesson one, nothing I see here means anything, be true if also God is in my mind and God is in everything I see? I says, yeah, that's the difference between form and content. And tonight is all about content, and you know, let form go. And the other idea that came from Rosalind, and she introduced us to soft eyes. That's what we're going to be using tonight, soft eyes, to see the content, because the content is so beautiful. And the easiest way to just see content is to let go of anything that you're thinking about. It's just that simple. Because whatever you're thinking about is form, and you can't see content when you're listening to form. So it's a letting go, and it's a practice. And we're all going to do this together, and we're going to have a happy time doing it. So the slide, which Holy Spirit sent to me like the last 24 hours, and I said to Rosalind, is it possible to make a slide out of this? I said, oh yeah, and do you want me to put it in the mail? And I said, yeah, it's a great idea. So let's take a look at the slide, because I actually forgot what the slide said.
Your life is nothing more than a love story between you and the divine. Every person, every experience, every gift, every loss, every pain is sent to your path for one reason only, to bring you back to the divine.
Wow. Imagine when I saw that for the first time, I said, my God, that's what I'm going to be talking about tonight. So it's like, you know, the original topic, and I don't know if you made that into a slide too, but comes from one of the only things I ever created as a posting. I do a lot of postings, but I don't create my own. This is one that I did create. And I don't know if you have that slide, but we'll just go over it.
I didn't make it into a slide, no.
It's fine, it's okay. So that's the posting called, we live in a sea of synchronicity within an ocean of love, in a sea of synchronicity, and everything and everyone that comes to us is coming to us perfectly, literally perfectly. And each of us gives to each other exactly what it is that we need to bring us back to the divine. So tonight we're looking for divine wisdom. Yeah, there's nothing I really need to know. In fact, if I need to know, if I think I need to know anything, you can be sure it's not divine. Yes, in the divine, there's only life. Yeah, the only life that God creates is in heaven. Yeah. So now we're gonna just close our eyes and ask to see the content of the mind of God. It's without limits. You can't see this with your naked eyes, your body's eyes. You can only see it with your Christ vision. Vision. Yeah. Vision doesn't know about the body's eyes. It only knows softness, calmness, peace. That's the only thing it knows. It doesn't know anything else. It has no need to know anything else. And we use our soft eyes, our vision, our spiritual vision, as God's vision. To see the content of God's mind. It's open, it's free, it's given to all equally. Everyone has it. All are included. Can I accept this as true? What can you not accept? If you but knew that everything that seems to happen, all events, this would include it. Past, present, and even to come. Is given to you perfectly for you. It's what you came here for. To remember God. God is, yes, look within. God is within. We are within. There's one God, one Son, one mind, one love. This is the peace of God. It passes all understanding. And for all of this, I am grateful. I give gratitude for all that I have now and now and now and now. Yes, these are endless nows. They never end. We left time a long time ago. This is what we came for the healing of our mind. That's our shared purpose. Nothing else really means anything.
Jackson,
Nothing else means anything. Nothing else means anything. Okay. Does everyone have a big smile on their face? You want to take the slide down so we can go to the gallery? All right. Hi, everybody. Does anyone want to share anything at all about your experience?
Rafi, did you have your hand up? Were you moving? or
No, I was just repositioning myself. But
Okay, Zoma has her hand
and I
up.
was no, that was just the quiet. It was so, what's the word? Inviting, normal, intense. That I was just riding with it.
Beautiful. Enjoy. You can come back to us when you feel like talking. Zoma.
Soma.
Yeah.
When you said going within, I found myself thinking, since I'm not my body, I kind of went within the universe, the all, realizing that even the body, because spirit is not inside my body. So when you said going within, and then you said we are within, that's what you said. Like, wow. It's like all of a sudden I felt that everything else, begin with the body, it just went out and it was all one for me. It just felt like just one beautiful realization that I am not this form.
Okay. Wow.
Thank you so much for that, Zoma. Yeah, we are not the form. So I have a question. Did anyone have difficulty letting go of form? Anyone at all? Just want to share it? We can look at it together.
I think, Dove, the way you presented it so beautifully, it didn't feel like in the exercise that we were asked to leave the form. You did it so beautifully that we just moved to spirit, but without a challenge to leave the form. So I think it happened very naturally. Do you
Yes.
know what I'm saying?
It does happen naturally. Yes, it does.
Yeah.
I was just wondering if anyone had the natural experience. That's all. I see Rico. Rico, do you have your hand up?
Yeah, I just wanted to piggyback on what my friend Rosalind said. There was actually no room for resistance. I had a dog bark and I couldn't even, it couldn't come in. I just kept riding inside and inside. So there was really no room for resistance at all. So whatever you did on the entry point, bronze it, because I'm gonna need it again.
That's beautiful, Rico. Thank you for that. Len? Len?
Hey, mighty companions. Thank you, Dove. You know, when you said, go in God's mind, all I could think of, all I can feel was love, total love. And very beautiful experience. You know, I felt like, yeah, I'm going inside the mind of God, but I don't have to move to be inside the mind of God. And it was all love. Thanks.
That's beautiful. Len, we don't have to move to be inside the mind of God. Yeah. Only form wants to move. Very good. Thanks. Anyone else? Anyone have an experience?
Dov, I just say when you use the words softens, calmness, and peace, you had me. It just was just opening. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for that, Robert. You know, yes. That's what spirit gave to me. Softness, calmness, and peace. All right. There's no other shares, no thoughts or questions about. Okay, Rafi, I see your hand up. Yes.
My mind tried to zone you out and make it look like I was in some blissful place. But I caught it and said, nice try, mind. And went right back to the actual piece of what was going on. The resistance came up, I could feel it in my gut, and just saw that as that energy that's trying to leave. Instead of fighting with it, welcome that, love that, let that go, and stayed in harmony with everything. It was an interesting thing, though. But it would try to put up a defense right away and make it look like it wasn't doing that. Nice try, mind.
Rafi, I want to say that that's a great catch, because that's what happens. The mind of form, which is nothing more than thought. it's so used to taking over, taking control, it just jumps right in. And we listen to it like it's real. Like there's a place in the Course that says, what if you knew you made this entire world up? What if you knew that? I mean, that's today's lesson. I'm not a victim of this world. I invented this world. I made it all up. That's today's lesson. Yeah. Ken Wapping says, you have no idea how resistant you are to learning what this Course is saying that you can do easily. And the word easy is the idea that if you don't have an ego to constantly be talking to you, you could easily do it because there'd be nothing but content. But we listen to the form. The form is our thoughts. That's what the form is. And the form just keeps going on. You have to be willing. The only way to let go of the form is you got to be able to willing to let go of your identity, because if I identify as a body, the form keeps me safe. So the transition from form to content requires trust. And as I said, TRUST, to rely upon spirit totally. And then it says in the Course, trust would settle all problems now. But we simply don't trust because we still live in fear. And I'm talking about myself. I go through this myself. Like it was 20 to 7, and I called up Rosalind. I said, Rosalind, my link is not working. She said, well, I'll get right back to you. And I'm thinking, oh, I said, wait a minute. What is it that I'm afraid of? And it came to me. I'm afraid this is not going to go well. It's not going to go right. And something's going to come in and mess it up. Well, the only thing that's coming in and messing up are the thoughts that something's going to come in and mess it up. As soon as I got that, I went right back into content, and I waited for Rosalind. I had the phone off, and she was, I guess, ringing a couple of times. I was, oh my God, the phone's ringing. Of course it's Rosalind. And here I am. All right. Any other thoughts at all? Yes, Lynn.
I remember when I do the lessons every year, and this has been going on for quite a few years. And I got to lesson 1, and it said, nothing I see means anything. And in back of my head, there's God is in everything I see because God is in my mind. And then I'm thinking the lesson, nothing I see, but I couldn't, it didn't fit. It didn't fit right. And that's when I called you, and that was brilliant, form versus content. I couldn't relate to form because I was in content.
Thank you so much, Lynn. That's the entire Course. Down to, well, if you listen to Ken Wapnick, which I've for many years have, this is a Course of form versus content. That's all it is. But we think with form. So we learn concepts, and the only way to actually do the Course is to unlearn all your concepts. In the last chapter, chapter 31, section 5, he says, salvation can be said to be an escape from all concepts. Now, the Course in Miracles is a concept. You can't bring the concept with you home. You can't bring words, symbols, labels, judgments, definitions home. Mm-hmm. Heaven is our home. We never left. Truth is, we're asked to accept one responsibility. Does anyone know what that is?
Accept the atonement for ourselves.
Exactly, Lynn. To accept the atonement for yourself. And what does the atonement say?
When you accept, well, I paraphrase. When you accept it for yourself, you accept it for everyone.
Yes. And what we're accepting is that what I think happened never happened.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're accepting. That's why it's easy to let go of form, because form is what the story about what happened.
But I have if what I do, which feels really great, is to be able to take the love from my stories. I just take the love, like I sift it. I don't have time for I had enough of the other stuff. And this is where I want to live. And so I have thank God I have the love from my stories.
Yes. For me, the easiest way to love is using my soft eyes, my spiritual vision to just being here allows me to let go of the form, the thoughts. You know, it's like being here now. You're in the present now, present awareness now. It's like in the now there are no thoughts. Form cannot exist in the now.
And there's so much there's love in the now. Now is love.
Yeah. Life exists only now. When it says, you know, this is in the laws of chaos. I just found it. I think Zolman knows. I just found it a couple of days ago. It says life only exists in heaven, nowhere else. So much for trying to figure the world out. Life only exists in heaven. That's where God placed it, nowhere else. So where's heaven? Is heaven a place? I got to go someplace? Heaven is simply an awareness, a perfect oneness. It's an awareness of perfect oneness. Anything that speaks of form is a takeaway from that oneness. So I had to be willing to let the form go. That's the only thing that we're asked to do. He says it takes great willingness to hear only one voice, to hear the voice for God instead of the form, which is the thoughts that are streaming through our minds. But they are not our minds. We are the one mind of God. And the one mind of God, the form doesn't even exist. That's why you can go to the introduction. He said this entire course can be summed up by these few lines. What's real can't be threatened. What's unreal doesn't even exist. Herein lies the peace of God. And
Dove, Kathleen would like you to repeat what you said about trust.
Okay. Yeah, when Rafi said earlier, you know, he caught himself that his ego thought system was going to distract him, take him away, and you know he was like fighting it. And of course, if you fight it, that's the ego doing the fighting for you. You have to be willing to become aware that this voice is talking to you, and your awareness allows it to be the way it is without listening to it. The words it speaks then doesn't really mean anything anymore. If you're not listening to it, you're not trying to analyze it, and it's like a warning system says, oh, if you do this, then you know what's going to happen. You don't listen to that anymore. What you do is you use your soft eyes, which is your spiritual vision, and you're asked to do the one thing that is asked of us, and that's to remember God. And God is content, where everything is the same. There's only sameness, oneness, equality. All the other comes from the belief in inequality, injustice. Somebody has done something to somebody wrong song. You gotta laugh. You simply gotta laugh. Okay.
Kathleen would like the acronym.
Somebody said
Oh,
it.
I'm sorry. On the
Somebody said
acronym,
it.
yeah, the
Yeah.
acronym for trust is to rely upon spirit totally. TRUST, to rely upon. And I always say the key word is totally. Because
Yes.
it's really an all or none. There's no 99% here. Now, That's what makes it difficult, by the way. I'm not saying it's easy to totally trust. In fact, trust is mentioned in the Manual for Teachers in section 4. He gives it 3 pages on trust. And that's the first of the 10 characteristics of God's children, God's teachers. It's the first, and it says it's the only one that you're responsible for. Once you develop trust, everything else is going to be given to you. And the idea of trust is to know that you were already given everything, that you're already perfectly cared for, but we just don't trust that that's true. At least the ego said, well, I don't think that's true. So we listen to the ego saying, well, I have to do this, I have to do that, but none of that is true. That's the game that we made up. That's as like the game of the world. I got to do something in order to get something. And like my birthday lesson 133 says, no, I will not value what's valueless. What's valuable belongs to me. Yeah, my soft eyes, my spiritual vision, and I can see God now. I don't have to wait till I do this course. Well, it takes a long time to you at the place where you can say, I don't have to be doing this course. I can see God now. It takes a long time to get there. Now, time itself is an illusion. So you might say, well, it doesn't have to take a long time. It can only take maybe a day, an hour, a minute. It's always now. Does that help?
Yeah. I was listening to a replay of another ACIM study group, and the person was referring to the untethered soul and saying how our ego is like a roommate that never stops talking and says mean things to us and bosses us around. And would we ever tolerate that in a roommate? Never.
Mhm.
So that really helps me, like,
That's
look at
very
my,
good, Kathleen. Thank you so much for sharing that. Truly, that's so beautiful. Did
and same-
everyone hear that? Maybe want to repeat it.
well, it's from the book, The Untethered Soul, by Ken Singer, isn't that correct?
Yes, it's Michael Singer. Yeah.
Michael, yeah. And this person was quoting him talking about how he says our ego is like a noisy roommate, like somebody's always talking. You know how some people always talk and then also say mean things, like poking you all the time, and we would never tolerate that in a roommate. You know, we'd love them. I'm not sure about loving my ego, but why not? And then but you wouldn't tolerate it. So it helps me when my ego starts at me, and the things that are triggering me now to pull me back into form are anything about abuse to animals, and wondering what to do with my old slides, my 35 journals from my entire life, and my letters that my sister sent back to me. When I look at all this stuff, I'm like, I don't know whether I want to read and watch all that. It's a huge trigger. So my affirmation is to be able to read those things and look at those things with healed memory, like in Ho'oponopono, where you cleanse your memory so that when you're remembering, there's no pain attached. And the
Why would
memories-
you read them? Can you explain to us why you would read them? To prove your spiritual state? Is there another reason to read them?
Just because it's about my entire life since I was 10, all my journals for my whole
But
life.
you lived that life. Is there some other reason that you would want to read them?
Well, there's a lot of ideas in there for things I'd like to do when I retire, which I'm now retired, and just fun ideas of things to do, and maybe businesses to start, or just
I
fun
see.
things,
I
just
see.
fun things.
I see.
But,
You're not just
it
going
is-
back over trouble.
Yeah, I mean, I like that input. Thank you, because I'm not sure whether to burn them or to read them and burn them. But anyway, I know it's just pulling me back into the world of form.
Well,
doesn't-
it is important because we all get pulled by the past. And isn't that another ego thought? And what you're talking about now is, are you going to listen to this roommate or not, who's saying annoying things? Hmm. It's just
Okay.
something to ponder. Lynn has.
I
her
think-
hand up.
I think this is a good time to talk about the story about the difference between trust and faith, if that's okay, because that'll give us a deeper meaning of the word trust. So So we said to rely upon spirit totally, and the key word is totally. It literally means to let go totally and let Holy Spirit guide your life. I remember I said 99% doesn't really work. 99% is like zero. So it's either an all or none. You're either trusting or not. We're either letting God or we're holding on for dear life. There's no Mr. in between. So the story we once had a teacher who came from Endeavor Academy, and she was talking about faith and trust. And someone says, well, is there a difference really between faith and trust? And she said, oh, there's a world of difference. You know, in faith, if you have to push a wheelbarrow across a high wire with no safety net underneath you, you have faith that you're going to push that wheelbarrow one step at a time, and you're going to get safely across that high wire, and you know that you can do it. That's having real faith. Trust, that's a whole different world. In trust, you put yourself into the wheelbarrow, and it doesn't matter who's pushing, you're safe. That's what it takes to be in total trust, to let go of everything. Okay, are there any thoughts? And maybe Rosalind, you want to lead us in meditation? That's up to you.
Yes. Lynn, do you have something you need to say?
Yes, I think I'd like to, Kathleen, I think it's a great opportunity, like to look at it differently. Like I was talking about, I had a pretty violent past, and talk about grace. I was able to take the love from it. And when we could look at, we can't push down our past. You know, I guess we have to be content that lives around form right now, you know, and the Course says what the Holy Spirit makes good of everything that you give him. And I think that's a great opportunity to test your strength. I know, like, I've written poetry since 1964, and some of it would break anybody's heart, you know, but I'm taking the love from it because that's who I am.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, Lynn, I want to add to what you said. Actually, in truth, you're not trusting in Holy Spirit. Does anyone really know who we're trusting in?
Yep.
Our higher self.
Yes,
Yourself.
our higher self. We're trusting in our true, certain self that God created. Until this opening of saying, yes, I made it all up. Now let me trust the truth of what I am and simply let go. That's how you really get there. That's a willingness to let go.
John, you have something you'd like to share?
It just comes to me about that question. You know, I'm just playing with, I'm going to push-pull on this because I really like the idea, you know, we got to let go of our conceptions and our perceptions and everything else to be in the content, you know. So, but when I go to look at my books from the past and stuff like that, for me, as long as I'm still on the journey, I got to be really clear that what is this for? You know, because upon that question, what this is for, what this journey is for, going through all these books rests a whole big story, to my mind. And so, gosh, everything is for me. That's what I'm saying. So if I'm going, what's this for? It's for me, for something. Everything is for me. A straight course, 101 Course in Miracles, but I just find comfort there. And I know I'm still on the path to content, you know. So I just wanted to share my thoughts on that.
Very good. Thank you so much. And I just want to mention the idea of everything is for me requires our acceptance of that. Because if I cannot fully and totally accept that, I'm going to be questioning and I'm going to be using my body's eyes and my body's radar to detect any kind of deception, because I don't want to be fooled. And believe me, that's exactly how the ego controls it. It says, well, you don't want to be fooled, you don't want to be deceived, and you get the stream of form that blocks the light. But we are the light. We're really trusting that I am the light. I am the light. I am the Son of God. I am the Christ. It's a certainty. Ego has no certainty. Ego lives in self-doubt, in self-denial, because that's how the ego came into being. We denied ourselves. This is an acceptance. That's the last unanswered question. Chapter 21, section 7. He says, do you not see that all of your misery comes from your strange belief? It's a belief that you, the Son of God, is powerless, a victim, unfairly treated, unequal. Is that what you really think? Is that the stream of form is coming, over and over again, that somebody did something to you, really? Well, those are the two lessons we're going through right now. Lessons 31, January 31, and 32, February 1. This is, I am not a victim of this world.
Thank you, Dove. Thank you, Dove.
I invented this world. I made it all up. It's a game like Wordle, Scrabble, chess. I want to win at this game.
You make it so hilarious. You make it so hilarious. You make it so hilarious. Thank you very much.
You got to laugh, really. Simply, you really got to laugh. Thank you so much for that, John. Thank you.
Well, that's great.
Anyone? Rosalind, do you want the mic?
Yeah, I just want to put 2 more cents in. And Kathleen, I would just love for you to take that to your higher self and ask what's for you to do, because you'll get a million different answers in this world. And I can say that for me, I've gotten very, very clear, more than advice. I've been moved very powerfully to not go to the past, even for memories with my daughter. That for me, memories, people say, oh, you have your memories. That's a thing they love to say when someone dies. But what I noticed was then I was suffering. I was completely in the memories. The sweet ones, they all ended in more and more pain. And that my freedom, whatever freedom I've been given, has been in the present. Like what Dove said in his meditation, and now, and now, and now. And then my mind and heart are open to what I am to do next in this moment, and not usually very much ahead. When I say yes to something bigger for me as a person, I'm not prepared too much ahead, but my trust is that I will be trained and given everything I need when I need it, and not necessarily ahead of time. So I
Thank
just
you.
put that in there.
Yeah, I want to say that the word that sums up a lot of that thinking that comes to us is fear. It's fear-based thinking. And I know that everyone here understands the idea there's 2 ways of looking at anything, either through the eyes of fear, where you push love away, or through the eyes of love, where everything is love. So go ahead. Yeah.
And there's this ego, and I never say my ego. I don't even use that word. I more often say the residual of that former self, just to really keep on reminding myself that this is a new life and this is a new opportunity in this now. but my kind of puts you right back in the close relationship, closer than you might want with that roommate. So really like that. Anyway, today, what came was something I'm going to share from Rupert because it seems like it fits with Dove's teaching. But first, I want to start with I am one self, capital S, united with my Creator. Let's take that in right now, in this moment. I am one self, united with my Creator. That means I have the capacity with my heart, with my being, with my soul, with my higher self. Plug in whatever word you want to connect with the one that is the one. And now I'll tell you what Rupert said. As the witnessing background of all experience, we are inherently free of all things. As the substance of all experience, we are intimately one with all things. There's a spaciousness in this wordless, nameless, unchanging place. And we're going to go from the body out into the world, into space, into the air, into the knowing, into the witnesser, and we're going to include the experience. Because when we're one self, united with the Creator, we are in heaven, and experience cannot touch us. It's all in that quote that is in the slide that you got. It all brings us to the divine. What we liked, what we didn't like, what happened to us, it's all the same. It's just experience. And it brings us back to the love that we are, the love that God is, the love that nature is, that spaciousness. We don't have to even worry about form or content, because in the oneness, there's only one. There's no watching. There's no mindfulness. It just is. In that isness of the now, we have the experience of God. God is no longer a concept. God is just plain us. God is just plain now. We don't have to make it into something greater. It's enough. We're enough. All are welcome in the now, and now, and now. And there's no difficulty or difference in the miracles. We accept all that has happened in the past, what is to come, because it's all the now. We can only experience the now, the oneness of ourselves with a capital S. Nothing more is needed to be learned. Nothing more is needed to be achieved. Nothing more is needed to get. We are finally enough in this now, in this now. And when you take a deep breath, you can't, I don't think, find the difference. Look for it, between your inhalation. Find the space between the inhalation, the exhalation, and the space between the inhalation and exhalation. It's very fuzzy because it's one as well. We're one with the water that helps us exist, even though we had nothing to do with it. We're one with our hearts that are in form but function to allow us to know the content of God. We're one with our livers and our soft eyes and our ears that connect us to this beautiful teaching Dove gave us tonight. We're just plain one, and it's enough. And we can take what we experience tonight, and it can be the next now and the next now. And we're so grateful to be with each other, to have this experience of oneness, one self united with our Creator. In the body, in the atmosphere, in the future, in the past, because it's all now. Now is all that exists. And for that, we are so grateful. And come back to the room, not with reluctance, but I offer you eagerness to take this experience in your heart mind, this softness that you took from today. We are the divine, and the divine is us. And we can take it into our lives. We don't have to compartmentalize it into a meditation. We've given up the separate self. Now let's give this up as well and know that we can, in every moment of every day, be one with the one, because it's truth. It's what we are. Thank you. I think I'm going to repeat that sentence and see if it feels different than when you heard it in the beginning. As the witnessing background of all experience, we are inherently free of all things. As the substance of all experience, we are intimately one with all things, and the commonality is oneness. We can be at home in silence. We can be at home in talking. We can be at home at doing errands. We can take this as our new home wherever we go. We can replace the roommate with this home. We created the roommate. We can have a new roommate, which is home.
I just put something into the chat, and I'm going to ask Rosalind, who has the most beautiful voice, to please read it. This comes from the Laws of Chaos, chapter 23, the war I wage against myself. It's in section 2, paragraph 19. Rosalind, could you please read it? Thank you.
Sure. 19. There is no life outside of heaven where God created life. There, life must be. In any state apart from heaven, life is an illusion. At best, it seems like life, at worst, like death. At least it seems like life, at worst, like death. Yet both are judgments on what is not life, equal in their inaccuracy and lack of meaning. Life not in heaven is impossible, and what is not in heaven is not anywhere. Outside of heaven, only the conflict of illusion stands, senseless, impossible, and beyond all reason, and yet perceived as an eternal barrier to heaven. Illusions are but forms. Their content is never true. We can rest in that. I am one self, united with my Creator. That means that every single beautiful face here is us. Yeah. Does anybody have anything they need to share about, was it hard for anyone? We don't want to always make this as though, we're all into the groove, like Rafi said, pretend we're all in this spiritual place. It's fine to say, I'm not there, I can't get there. We can be one with that too. It's all good. Lynn. This has been so beautiful. Thank you so much. You really feel it, right? The connection. Right? It's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. Thanks.
Who would have thought, right? When before we opened our eyes, had the willingness to open our eyes, that this was even possible.
Yeah. Content and choice is really the choice between truth and there is no truth. In truth, only the truth is true and nothing else is true. When he says there is no death, that's true. When he says life exists only in heaven, that's true. So do I choose the truth, or do I want to be right about what's not true? And that's where the resistance is, by the way. People really don't want the truth, because that would mean that their life, things that they thought were true are not true. They don't want to hear that. So it takes a real willingness to say, I want to see things differently. That's why we just went through those other lessons. Above all else, I am determined to see things differently. That's probably the numero uno lesson in the course. If you're going to pick out one lesson, it's about seeing. I'm either seeing with my soft eyes, I'm seeing nothing but content, I'm seeing God in all that I meet, I'm listening to form, the ego telling me what's right and what's wrong, who's good and who's bad. And of course, I'm the one that's always lagging, thinking that someone else has something that I don't have. I mean, that's the lie. Salvation is a collaborative venture. We're all in this together. That includes all the people in your life who, for some reason, it doesn't look like they belong in your life. It doesn't look like they belong in your life, but they are the perfect ones to be in your life. So you can let the form go. That's why they're in your life. Any
Zoma,
thoughts on that? Any
Zoma,
thoughts?
do you have something to add?
What were you asking? Who?
I was asking Zoma.
Okay, Zoma?
I was smiling when you talk about letting the form go. My primary example was life with my mother, and of this group here, Dove knows the story and Rico knows the story. I kind of forced it on him. Sorry about that, Rico, but it was a big story. It was a great story. I mean, because it was where I became free. When we talk about form, we talk about what we see with the physical eye. And we've always been taught to believe that what we see with the eye is what's real. But content, that whole thing, form versus content, what is that? As a simple example, if somebody pays you an unexpected compliment and you feel good, or you're walking down the street and you happen to find a $20 bill on the ground, you feel good. Or you go out and you see that the sun, it was supposed to rain and the sun was shining so brightly and you feel good. Those three different situations were three different forms, but the content was the same, that good feeling. But in the case of my mother, we had a terrible relationship because I kept seeing her for who she wasn't. I kept seeing who I thought she was supposed to be. This person, title, mother, with she should have this and was supposed to that and didn't this and wasn't from the Ozzie and Harriet television show. And with time, of course, and the psychologist, because they kind of came together. The psychologist said to me in one session that if I looked at what role I played in it, that I would realize there was nothing to forgive. And I'm like, this man is crazy. He's crazy. What do you mean there's nothing to forgive? This happened, and that happened, and that happened. And this didn't happen. And then in between that session, the next one, I came to the course, and there's this in the Function of Time, chapter 13, section 4. It talks about how the ego, which isn't real, and I don't say my ego either, Roz. I stopped saying that because if I'm calling it mine, I'm making it real. So what I say is, when I think I am an ego, and the course asks us, to the Holy Spirit asks to act as though you are not, live as though you are not an ego. That's what we're asked to do. Live as though, it's Stephen King didn't write the book about Cujo and then become afraid of Cujo, that kind of thing. So I had to say with my mother. So I came to this part of the course where it said that the ego has this notion of time where it only thinks it's the past, and how we're seeing everything in its form, and realizing that what I came to realize that form was not who my mother was. I had defined her for who she was supposed to be. And once I was able to look beyond that and see that she had fear, that she had, situations, that things that occurred in her life that she didn't even realize, she wasn't ready to talk about and express yet. But once I was able to see past that, beyond the body, beyond all that, to the content, to that part of her that was me, the relationship between my mother and I, Mommy became my best friend, and the story can go on forever. She became my best friend, and she made her transition in 2008, and she is still my best friend, beyond the body, beyond the form. It's not about that anymore. The oneness still exists, and it always has existed. It always has for all of us. It's not about the body. And I'm complete. Thank you.
Zulma,
For
Zulma,
that beautiful example.
I want to say that reminds me of everyone's an angel. And we're here to earn our wings. And you remember, like Clarence earned his wings, and it's a great life. We are each, like, I was thinking of my wife. We were together 43 years. She was my angel. She definitely earned her wings with me. I mean, she really did. I mean, anyone who could put up with me for 43 years and left me happy. I mean, and she's happy too. It's literally, you know, we're here for each other. That's the truth. Salvation is a collaborative venture. We're here for each other, always. There's only one of us.
That's a beautiful way for us to end. Thank
Okay.
you, Dove. Thank you, Zulma.
Thank
for
you.
the beautiful example. Thank you, everybody, for the experience of being together. So beautiful. Rico, did you have something you wanted to say before we leave?
Yes, I have to tell my Boricua sister, that was not a farce. That was an honor to listen and share that experience. That was an honor. Don't get it confused. Get back in the content, leave that form alone.
You can tell that story as many times as you want. I'm happy to hear it again and again. So, mwah. Thank you, everybody.
Me too. I want to hear it again.
Wow.
Hey, John, I almost forgot to tell you I love you, man.
I love you. I love you more.
Mucho gusto, Juan.
Soul to soul, we are one.
Yes, all one.
Be well, Robbie.
Thank you.
Mwah.
Bye-bye.